Hey guys, I wanted to hop on today and chat about my homeschooling style. As you guys may know, I'm a homeschool mom of two girls. Currently, they are in grades fifth and seventh grade. And for our entire homeschool journey, we have been pretty eclectic. I really don't subscribe to any particular style of homeschooling. If you've researched homeschooling or looked up homeschooling, you may have come across terms such as unschooler, school at home, Charlotte Mason, Montessori. There are all these different type of styles to teach your kids at home, and I don't subscribe to any of them. I basically just try to teach my daughters what they will need to function in our society. So to do that, I use a variety of resources. And that's pretty much what eclectic homeschooling is, using a variety of resources, a variety of styles to get the job done. So some weeks we may look like a family who doesn't have a whole lot of rigid structure. Some weeks we're very relaxed, and some weeks I might have some goals that I want us to achieve. So it looks a little bit more structured, like we are focused on reaching goals and getting specific tasks done. Um, and that's how our homeschool flows. There's no right or wrong way to homeschool. It really just depends on your teaching style and your children's learning styles, which is why we are relaxed most of the time, eclectic homeschoolers, because my daughters, they each have their own learning style. I have one daughter who prefers to learn hands-on. She's really creative and she enjoys those type of activities, where I also have a daughter who is very traditional, who enjoys doing book work so that she can see the end product, and she'll be able to go back and correct those things, and we'll have a clear evidence of the skills that she needs to work on, or the skills that she's really good at. We also enjoy hanging outside, going out in nature, visiting zoos, museums, aquariums, and things like that. Learning when we also enjoy learning without books. So, for instance, my youngest daughter, the fifth grader, she shared that she would like to know more about landmarks. She wanted to know where things were, famous landmarks, where they are in the world. And part of her reason for wanting to know this was because we were playing a game, and her sister is very knowledgeable about landmarks. Not because we sat down and went over all the landmarks in the world. She's just a observant child, and she remembered where things were and what the names of those historical places are. She committed them to memory on her own without any prompting from anyone but herself. And so when we were playing this game, my youngest daughter just realized, like, I don't know these things. I don't know this stuff. And to be honest, some of the landmarks I didn't know. I just never thought to learn, or they never came up in a book that I was reading, which is often where I learn new information, just by reading different types of books. So if I had never come across it before, then it wasn't in my knowledge bank either. So my oldest daughter, she had a leg up on us, and my youngest daughter wanted to learn about landmarks. I tried to do it like in a traditional way, let's set a specific time of day and we're going to learn about these landmarks. I'm going to hang images up so that you can see them. And yeah, it didn't work. It didn't go anywhere. She may have learned a couple landmarks using that method, but I really don't think she did. So we had to, well, not we, but I just shelved it, and I thought, well, if she really wants to learn about the landmarks, she'll pick up a book or two and try to learn it that way until I can figure out a method that will work for us. So I did figure out something that could work for her learning style, and I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to pause this, so I might, when I hop back on, I might forget what I just said, so bear with me. So I'm back, and I went to grab what we're using to help me and my youngest daughter, and maybe even my oldest daughter, learn new landmarks. One thing I did, I picked up resources that weren't school-like, but they were still educational. I grabbed this book from Barnes and Noble, and it has different wonders of the world, some of the well-known places and such. I don't know if it shows up really well. Places and such. I have this book open on a bookshelf. I've learned that if I leave a book open just on the shelf, when the girls walk by, they will stop and read whatever page is on there. I don't say, hey, did you read what's on the bookshelf today? They'll just notice the book open, and if it's something that catches their eye, they'll stop and read it. Another thing we are doing, this is our first, there are pieces in here, so this is our first 1,000 piece puzzle. We've been working on puzzles in our homeschool because it allows us to turn off the television and not sit in front of a device, and the girls will have something to do so they're not idle, and it's something that we can do together. I grabbed this puzzle from Barnes and Noble also, and we are working on it, and it has different landmarks all around the world, right? The other thing we have, but we have not opened up yet, I recently bought this, is a landmark, famous landmark bingo puzzle. Just a fun way to go over the landmarks. And in this, I will say, I know that the bingo questions are just hints about the landmark. So on the back, the clue for Eiffel Tower is built for the World's Fair in 1889, built to show how steel and iron could be used to build structures. Most famous landmark in Paris, France. So that's how the bingo questions are set up. And if you know what that image looks like, or if you know the name of it, because the cards have both the image and the name of the landmark on it. So this is another fun way to help introduce my daughters to more landmarks. But not only that, one way I didn't even realize, we were watching CNN Student News this morning, and at the end of each show, they focus, I'm trying to find the word, they focus on a city and a landmark in that city. And today's landmark was the Pearl Tower, if I'm not mistaken, in Shanghai, China. Well, when we were watching it, my daughter, the youngest daughter, said, oh, where is today's city? What city are they focused on? I said, Shanghai, China. And then she asked, well, what's the name of that building? Of course, I did not know the name of the building, so a quick Google search told us the name of the building. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Pearl Tower. So back to how we homeschool. Whatever my daughters are interested in, it may not be this big grand lesson where I'm making lesson plans and I'm going to pick up all the books so that we can have this in-depth study. Sometimes it's just me knowing that they're interested in something and pointing it out in our regular things, like paying attention to the end of CNN Student News to realize that they show a famous landmark almost every day, Monday through Friday. And the landmarks are all around the world, not just in the US. So it's really taking something that we're already doing and using it to help learn about other things that the girls might be interested in. And as you can see behind me, I have charts up. This is our dining area. This is where we eat. The table is right here. This is where we eat, but also you'll see that there are resources up behind us or behind me. There are books on the bookshelves so that they're able to pull out any books that might be about a topic that they're currently interested in. And I don't always, when they mention that they're interested in something, I don't always jump to it right away. I have to process, like, well, this is the way they learn. Would this be fun? Just because they're interested in it, I don't want to take the joy out of them learning about it. So sometimes it's just me encouraging them to check out books about the topic at the library, or trying to find a field trip or two that focuses on that particular topic. Like last week, we went to a local airport, not not an international airport, but a small airport. And we learned about planes, and we got to see the pilot section of the plane where the pilot sits and all that. And it was a really cool field trip. It's not something that I'm about to build a curriculum around or lesson plans around. But what we did notice after we went on that field trip, the word fuselage, which is the body of the airplane, it came up again in something else we were doing. We were talking about gliders. I can't remember the exact lesson. But the point is, sometimes you're just learning what you're learning and it comes up in other ways. And that's pretty much how we homeschool. We use what's around us, but I also use regular curriculum for subjects like math and history, particularly math and history, because I don't want to miss something. I don't want to just, you can be so familiar with something and you realize that you know it and you can forget to teach it to someone else. So I don't want to chance it by not having some sort of guide. I think I was going to say one more thing, but if it doesn't come to me in the next second, I probably won't say it. Not only do we use regular resources like math textbooks and history textbooks, we also use online resources. So this school year, we're using Google Classroom, and we're using that for the girls to continue to build their independence. So in the Google Classroom, I type in some of their, particularly for history, I type in their assignment for the day, they answer questions in it, and they have to get it completed by the due date. So that's another part of being eclectic. I use different resources because I know that I will not always be their only teacher, and I want them to know how to use other resources, because every teacher has his or her own teaching style. And although I can't prepare them for all the different ways someone might present information, I do want to encourage them to learn using different styles and techniques. So we use regular books, we use resources like a bingo game, we use video such as documentaries, and like I said, CNN 10, CNN Student News. We use regular textbooks like Not Grass and Company for history and BJU Press for math. We use a variety of resources, and we're not married to any of the resources. We use what is working for us at the current time. So that's what eclectic homeschooling looks like for us as far as resources and things like that. When it relates to a schedule, we do have a schedule, and I've talked about it before. We have a schedule, and it's a really simple schedule. I keep it taped up on our wall. And the reason why we have a schedule, and I don't know if you can see it. Okay, and as you can see, it's really tiny. It's not this big schedule that's going to take up our whole day. It's just a list of the subjects that we're doing each day. There's no times listed. It's really just a guide so that I won't forget, because I'm human and I have a lot of things going on sometimes, and I don't want to forget to do something. So the schedule is there to keep me on track so I can remember, hey, you haven't did science in a while. Why not? It's on your schedule, make sure, to help keep me focused and keep me on track. We do have a cutoff time so that schooling with books and things like that will not take over all of our day. I believe, especially as a person who works from home, If you do something in your home, you can easily allow it to take over and not give yourself the breaks that you need because your work is always there with you. And I don't want my daughters to pick up that habit because I think it can turn unhealthy. So we do have cutoff times. So that means we have to be diligent in our time because time management is good. It's a good skill to have. So that's pretty much eclectic homeschooling in our homeschool. If you have any questions, please leave a message underneath this video. And thank you for taking the time to watch. If you want to hang out with me, I'm on Instagram at Latanya_MO. You can also find me on the Facebook page, facebook.com/joyintheordinary.com. Not just joy in the ordinary, I always say .com, but facebook.com/joyintheordinary, and the blog is joyintheordinary.com. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.